Are you struggling with picking the right item for the right god? Not knowing which is the best item to buy when counter building in the middle of the game? Or even which item effect matches well with a god's abilities? Well, don't worry, because I'm about to give you the best item guide on YouTube. From standard builds to counter builds, after this video you'll learn everything you need to know about items in Smite. So, we all know that the items you build in Smite have a huge impact on your potential in-game. They can affect your health, damage, and even your speed. That's why you need to know which item is the best for every situation you're placed in. So, let's dive deeper into the items so you can unlock their full potential. First up, we'll be going over Guardian items. Guardians are magical damage dealers, so we'll be focusing on magical items for this class. As a Guardian, the main stats you want to look for are health, physical defense, and magical defense. These stats will allow you to tank some big damage and frontline for your team. Some good items for these stats are as follows. Gauntlet of Thebes is always a go-to item on any Guardian, as it gives 200 health and 15 HP 5, but also has a stacking effect. Getting assists on minions or gods will stack this bad boy up, and once at full stacks of 45, it then provides 45 of each protection and also provides an aura, giving allied gods inside of it 10 of each. Then we have Prophetic Cloak. This item provides 25 of each protection, 100 health, and also 10% cooldown reduction. Prophetic Cloak, can also be stacked up by attacking the god every 8 seconds and provides you with 1 aura base protection every time you do it for the corresponding type of god you hit. So basically, if you hit a physical god, you get a stack of physical defense, and the same way for a magical god. You can stack each type up to 15, and then once both have been stacked to 15, it provides allies with 20 of each protection in an aura. But also as a Guardian, you will have other responsibilities too. Let's say that the team you're facing has a heavy healing composition. Then you'd have to build some anti-heal into your build. The best anti-heal items for a Guardian would be Pestilence, which provides a 25% healing reduction aura and also some magical defense. Or Contagion, which has the same aura but gives physical defense instead of magical. Which item you build depends on who you're facing. If you need more physical defense, then build Contagion. More magical defense, then Pestilence. Other stats are useful for Guardians too, like cooldown reduction, crowd control reduction, and even slow immunities. So you can also try to weave these stats into your build. For a well-rounded build for any Guardian, I would build the following. Sentinel's Embrace is the starter, then Gauntlet of Thebes, Prophetic Cloak, Sovereignty, Heart Ward Amulet, and then finish with Stone of Binding. If you need to counter build against anything, swap out the Sovereignty or the Heart Ward Amulet depending on which defense type you need. Next up, we have Warriors. Warriors are physical damage dealers, so we'll be focusing on physical damage for this class. As a warrior, the stats you want to look for are also health, physical defense, and magical defense. But you can get away with mixing a bit of physical power in there too, because warriors are mostly played as bruisers. These stats will allow you to take some decent damage but also give it back out, especially towards the squishier targets like mages and hunters. Some good items to build are as follows. Gladiator Shield gives physical protections, health, HP 5 and cooldown reduction, so is a great starting item for an ability based warrior like Cuckoo Lane. Whereas Berserker Shield gives physical protections, health, HP 5 and attack speed, which is a great starting item for auto attack based warriors like Bellona or Cyrus. Prophetic Cloak is also great on warriors, as you can easily stack up the passive by dealing poke to the enemy team. For anti-heal, you would go the same items as the Guardians, but with Pestilence and Contagion being the best choices. But you can also opt for Brawler's Beatstick that gives some power pen and also reduces healing by 40% when you hit an enemy with one of your abilities. Some other stats you could go for would be cooldown reduction and crowd control reduction. For an ability based warrior build, I would go Bluestone Pendant, Gladiator Shield, Prophetic Cloak, Void Shield, Pestilence, and then finish off with Pridwin. For an auto attack based warrior, I would build Death's Toll, Phalanx, Berserker Shield, Shogun's Kasari, Kinsais, and then finish off with Pridwin. Now for the assassins. Assassins are physical damage, so physical items are their go-to. As an assassin, the stats you will be focusing on are physical power, physical percent penetration, and physical flat penetration. These stats will allow you to burst down any god with your auto attacks or abilities in seconds. Some essential items are as follows. Transcendence is a go-to item for me as it gives power, mana, MP5, and even flat penetration. This item allows me to not have to worry about my mana running low and also provides a huge power spike when built first item. Another item would be Hi-Rez Lament. This makes your next basic attack after the use of an ability do an extra 25% damage, so is essential in any assassin build and also provides power, percent penetration, cooldown reduction, and mana. For anti-heal on assassins, you would want to use Brawler's Beatstick only. And you should only build Brawlers if you really need to, as you could be using a better item instead of it. If you feel like you need an extra bit of movement speed to chase down some last hits, then Serrated is a good choice, and even Bloodforge if you're feeling a bit extra spicy today. A well-rounded build for any assassin would be the following: Bluestone Pendant, Transcendence, Jotun's Wrath, Hi-Rez Lament, Crusher, and then finish off with Heartseeker. Next up, we have Mages. Mages are magical damage dealers, so will be magical items for this role. As a mage, the stats you'll be focusing on will be magical power, magical percent penetration, and magical flat penetration. You would also want to try and mix in some cooldown reduction to be able to use your abilities more often. Some good items for mages are as follows. Book of Thoth. This is basically the magical version of Transcendence, providing magical power, magical flat pen, mana, and MP5. This item fits mages really well as you will use mana constantly, and this item fixes that problem. Another great item would be Chronos Pendant. This item provides magical power, MP5, and cooldown reduction. This item is one of the best cooldown reduction items in the game and is essential if you want to spam those abilities. For anti-heal on mages, I would suggest Divine Ruin. This is basically the magical version of Brawler's Beatstick, but actually fits well into a mage build, so is more viable to build. A decent mage build would be as follows. Alternate Timeline, Book of Thoth, Spear of Desolation, Chronos Pendant, Staff of Maiden, and finish off with Soul Reaver. If you want to put Divine Ruin in there, I would switch it for Spear of Desolation. Last but not least, we have Hunters. Hunters or Hunters? I think it's Hunters, right? Hunters are physical damage dealers and require physical items. The main stats you want to focus on for Hunters would be physical power, physical percent penetration, and attack speed. Hunters also benefit a lot from lifesteal, which keeps them alive in fights. With these stats, you'll be able to burst down tanks and objectives with ease, which is basically the Hunter's jobs. So, some good items for Hunters would be Devourer's Gauntlet. This item is a go-to for any Hunter and provides you with physical power, lifesteal, and physical flat penetration. This item is built mostly for the high physical power and the powerful lifesteal once it's fully stacked. It can keep you alive all game. Executioner is also a decent item that gives physical power and attack speed, but also has a passive that gives you percent penetration based on how many basic attacks you can land on an enemy god. If you hit them 4 times, you will get 28% penetration for 3 seconds, which is huge. You should never really build anti-heal on a hunter, as you need your auto attacks to hit the hardest they can, and building anti-heal will reduce it significantly. A go-to build for hunters would be the following: Leader's Cowl, Devourer's Gauntlet, Executioner, Dominance, Kinsais, and finish off with Odysseus's Bow. Certain gods in Smite go against everything I just said.
Bruh.
Anubis, for example, would want to be built with full lifesteal build in mind. Cuckoo Lane doesn't have a mana pool, so some items that give MP5 could be swapped out for other things you would need. But the point is, the build is the most important part of a game and determines whether you do well or not. Make sure you try out the builds I provided in this video and leave a comment if you have a build of your own you like to use so that other people can enjoy it too. And if you are completely new to Smite and have no idea what I've just said in this entire video, then watch this video here where I give you a comprehensive beginner's guide on Smite and what it offers. Thanks for watching.